Homosexuality and military service. What is the deal with that? The "Don't Ask, Don't Tell" policy, adopted, what was it, sometime in around 1993 by then President Clinton, which ended the immemorial tradition of only people of a heterosexual orientation in the armed services. I believe it would be naive and ignorant to say that nobody of a homosexual uh, persuasion, for lack of a better term, was involved in the armed services before that time. The "Don't Ask, Don't Tell" policy, however, did not uh, completely abolish the armed services policy towards homosexuality. And if a person were caught or known or admitted to being of a homosexual persuasion, they would be kicked out of the armed services. The original, one of the original arguments had to do with a homosexual in the military posed a security risk, being if an enemy agent were to find out about their sexual orientation, they could be blackmailed in exchange for a military position or sensitive information. I believe that argument in this day and age, where taboos seem to be falling off left and right, is no longer valid. And furthermore, I'm going to point blank say it: the issue of homosexuals and military service is completely a civilian debate. Persons in the military, by and large, and I cannot speak for all of them, persons in the military, though, by and large, if you can do your job sufficiently and do the tasks that you're presented with, then it's not a big deal. It doesn't really matter. Uh, the problem comes into if homosexuality now all of a sudden has become an open thing, then the normal jocular nation of not nation, the normal jocular tendencies of armed services personnel could be a problem. Because while it doesn't matter to them, it's something that's joked about, like, oh, yeah, homo, whatever. And imagine the harm that could come to the armed services if people are all of a sudden sued for their natural behavior. Now, a person could take the high road and say, oh, that behavior shouldn't be allowed anyway. Well, whatever, take the high road. But in my opinion, this is a civilian debate. And it has to do with civilian politicians pandering the public, a perhaps homosexual or well-meaning altruistic public who never intend to serve in the armed services anyway, in just a regular old power grab. It doesn't matter. Especially, I was discussing this with a senior non-commissioned officer a few months ago, around the time when it first started to come to the forefront, and they started getting directives down about it. And they were going so far as to having even special facilities for homosexual personnel. So in addition to having a facility for male personnel, a facility for female personnel, there would now be separate facilities for homosexual personnel. So you're increasing the facilities even further. And in the case of a military environment, necessity should be the cause for the facilities, and nothing more. Really, it's a policy of don't care. And this particular senior military person that I talked to, he implicitly doesn't care. He even had guys working for him that, and these were fighting men and great Americans, and there was nothing wrong with them. It didn't matter. You do your job, and nothing else matters. Just like being a female who's capable of doing their job. What does it matter about their sexual orientation or what sort of body parts they have? If a person's strong enough and capable enough to do the job, that's all there is to it. Everything else is fluff put on there from outsiders. Frankly, I believe the homosexual community should be offended to be used in such a fashion. If they believe that the politicians who are in their court are so there because of a altruistic or humanitarian standpoint, well, they've got another thing coming and they need to learn a little something about power and humanity. So there you go. There's my stance on homosexuals in the military. I don't care. If a person wants to serve our country, have at it. I love all you people who choose to do so, and your sexual orientation is irrelevant to me if you're willing to do that job, and it's irrelevant to me if you're willing to do any job and contribute to society. I don't see it as an issue anymore. You got to be a 10-year-old to think that it's funny or a big issue. All right, and if your sexual orientation is such an issue in your life that it affects every aspect of your being and it makes to where you can't do a job correctly, then there's something else going on with you besides just that particular issue that you think you have. Because I'm a pretty run-of-the-mill guy, and if I don't care, man, hardly anybody's going to care. Y'all be good, and we'll see you soon.